So recently I served on jury duty. And from the moment that I got my summons, I realized there was something that was particularly different about this jury duty. So in my area, typically when you get the summons, it's for a long period of time, several weeks, if not months, where you have to call in on a regular basis to check in and see if you need to report to the court. Well, mine, immediately upon receiving it, was for only 1 week. And that made me feel and think that it was likely that I was going straight into, the jury selection process or voir dire. So when I got to the courthouse, that was in fact the case. And upstairs we were whisked and we sat for 2.5 hours while we were questioned by the judge and by the plaintiff and the defendant's attorneys. And it was fascinating. And like I said, I served, so I was selected for the jury. But there's a few things that I learned about this process that I want to share with you guys. Welcome to Momentum Live. I'm Brooke Scutt. So this process was fascinating because when you go into the courthouse as a juror, you have some freedoms. You can bring lunch and food and things like that, which other people can't bring into the courthouse. But no technology, no phones, no smartwatches either, regardless of whether your smartwatch works or without your phone or not. That was a point of frustration with me and one of the deputies. Nevertheless, took my phone back or my watch back to my car and I left it there. So, we live in such a now society, right? We think of something, we whip out our phone and we Google it and we look it up. We're about to see friends in 15 minutes, but we want to talk to them right now. And because of this now society, we've gained, the ability to have convenience and the convenience factor, but at the sacrifice and the loss of our patience. So here I am, and I'm in this jury room with 9 other people, and nobody has cell phones. Nobody has watches. There's 2 people who have standard, analog watches. Good, we needed them, nevertheless. But we, had this ability to just communicate and didn't have the convenience and access to the technology that we've become so reliant upon its convenience. So the case was long. From the very first day, it was Monday afternoon, we sat down and we started, the opening. And we knew that this was going until Friday. And it's a medical malpractice case. So as you can imagine, there is bukus of medical terminology, documentation, legal terminology, documentation. And I began to feel my patience just waning. And I learned a couple of things that helped me during this process. And the first and foremost for me was just learning to let go of what you couldn't control. I could not control when we were going to get a break. I could not control, when the next witness is going to be called or when this particular line of questioning was over. So I just sort of learned to just let go of what I couldn't control. And then second, to just be present and mindful. It's something that I experienced in yoga, for example. Like doing yoga, one of the best things was being mindful and present when you're on the mat. Don't let your mind wander to the grocery list. Don't let your mind wander to the things that you have left on your desk or your email to do, but just stay present and mindful. And what I found was letting go of what I couldn't control and then staying present and mindful, that I found myself just exercising patience. Fascinatingly, because I had no other choice. So the last thing that I came to was just focusing on short-term goals. And I knew we were going till Friday. We knew from the minute we walked in the courtroom that first Monday morning that this was lasting until Friday. So it was about short-term goals. At first it was like, get to lunch. And I mean this, the information was fascinating. And we were so present, so focused, notes after notes, trying to pay attention and give each side their due focus. But it became breaking this whole thing down into short-term goals to get to the long term. And I think that is relevant to anything that we're doing, but my example helps me prove it out. We focused on getting through this particular witness or this particular testimony. And then we focused on, okay, now we have lunch. That's good. And it was these short-term goals that allowed us to bring the mindfulness and the presence each chunk along the way to the final goal, which was, rendering the verdict of the trial. So I just thought about that, and I wanted to share it with you. You go in this now mentality, so fast-paced, technology at your fingertips, and the surrender that took place, knowing that you couldn't have that technology, knowing you couldn't have that option. So the only option was to exercise patience. So that's my suggestion for you. 3 ways to exercise and cultivate greater presence. Let go of what you cannot control. Be present and mindful, no matter where you are or what it is that is testing your patience. And then last but not least, break it down to shorter goals to eventually achieve that long-term goal. I hope you guys have a great Monday and a great week, and I'll see y'all next week.